Good morning, Morning Musings by Melinda. How are you this morning? I want to talk to you about fears and phobias. You know, in spirituality, we talk about there being only two emotions on this planet, one being fear and the other being love, and everything else a footnote of one of those emotions. So if you're angry about something, you're afraid. If you're jealous, you're afraid. If you're grateful, you have love, that kind of thing. But, you know, there are people who have real fears and phobias, and the interesting thing is a phobia may be an unrealistic fear, like the fear of leaving one's house, or sometimes we are so claustrophobic that we are afraid to be in closed spaces, those kinds of things. But what are the 10 top things that people fear the most? Well, I found this interesting when I was doing my homework for you this morning. Public speaking is one of the top, if not the top thing that people fear the most. I am comfortable with it now because I've been doing it for so very long. But I can remember the first time ever doing any kind of public speaking. I felt naked. I felt so vulnerable in front of people. My knees were knocking together. And what I learned was that everybody is rooting for you to be successful when you're speaking. And if you look from one person to the other and make some eye contact, it makes it easy. But, you know, sometimes public speaking turns into a real phobia and people just get choked up and can't speak at all. Heights. People, number 2, are experience vertigo and are afraid to get on top of a ladder, which, you know, is reasonable in some ways, but in other ways, you know, people use that as an excuse not to fly, which is one of the safest ways to travel. Although I think that's really a fear of loss of control, right? Going to the dentist is number 3. And, you know, that's interesting because if your mouth isn't healthy, the rest of your body is not healthy. I don't know if you know that, but it's a very important part of taking care of oneself. So if you haven't been to the dentist in a while, please go. Snakes is number 4. It's interesting, people will talk to me about dreaming about snakes and be upset or scared about it. But when you dream about snakes, it's actually the awakening of the Holy Spirit within, or the Kundalini energy. Flying, which I think I've already talked about. Spiders and insects. Yeah, I think when I first moved to Arizona, I was a little bit freaked out over some of the desert insects and so on, and the scorpions. But when I finally got bit by a scorpion once and it numbed my hand a little bit, I lost my fear. Isn't that funny? Because after that, it was like, oh, it just numbs you a little bit. So enclosed spaces. 8 is mice. 9 is dogs. Isn't that interesting? So those are the top fears that they write about in Psychology Today. But from the work that I do, I think there are 2 things that people fear the most, because when I'm doing hypnotherapy and helping people understand their karmic profile or removing trauma, I'm a trauma specialist as a hypnotherapist, childhood trauma. The thing that they fear the most, there are 2, and it's not death, which would, be a common thought that it might be death, but it's fear of not being good enough and fear of not being loved, and third would be fear of being alone. Those are the 3 things that people's subconscious minds talk about. Fear of not being good enough, fear of not being loved enough, and fear of being alone. And I think that's an interesting thing to look at energetically, because if the law of attraction is an absolute law, as we talk about, and fear is an attraction energy, that's why it says in the Bible, blessed are those who fear in the Lord, because in the day when they wrote that, it was like attracting the Lord in. We attract what we fear. We create what we love. That's a different. We attract what we fear. We create what we love. Then if you have fear of being alone, or fear of not being lovable, or fear of not being good enough, you attract those kinds of situations and that kind of person into your life over and over and over again. And to me, I'd rather see a mouse or a scorpion or be up on a ladder than I would to attract that kind of energy over and over into my vibrational frequency. So what are you afraid of? And look at your emotional baggage and see if your family of origin has taught you in some form or fashion that you're not good enough or you don't deserve love. And if that's the case, there needs to be a reframe, and you need to take a good, strong look at what that means to you so that you can create the life that you want to and have the love and have the appreciation for yourself that you deserve. Okay? I hope that helped you today. I am looking forward to talking to you tomorrow. I can't remember what my topic is. I know I sent Jackie something. I know we've been moving time around a little bit this week. So sorry about that. I hope that you are all safe and well. We are up again on COVID-19. Coronavirus is up again in this country statistically. So please still wear your mask and observe social distancing. I get a big kick out of it. Now that I have people coming into my office with masks, I understand why condoms don't work for birth control. Because people don't wear their masks right. I hope you have a great day.